Welcome back to the Career Campus. I'm Aaron Davies, and this is the space where we sit down with senior leaders to explore the turning points, challenges, and philosophies that have shaped their careers. Think of it as a fireside chat, candid, informal, and hopefully full of those nuggets of wisdom which you can carry into your own journey. My guest today is none other than Salil Saurabh, a seasoned technology and alliances leader with over 2 decades of experience spanning IBM and Equinix, where he's helped shape partner ecosystems and drive exponential revenue growth across EMEA. He's led transformative initiatives such as IBM's Alliances organization in global technology services and Equinix's Power of Three program, uniting major industry players like Dell and DXC. Beyond his commercial achievements, Salil is known among peers as a reflective thinker, someone who blends strategic leadership with mindfulness, balance, and a deep curiosity about purpose in work and life. So, Salil, a very warm welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. It's great to see you.
You're so welcome, and Aaron, thank you for inviting me.
It's a real pleasure. It's a real pleasure. Thank you for making the time. Today's episode, I was going to give it a title along the lines of Bridging Worlds, Integrating Technology, Leadership, and Inner Wisdom, because you've always struck me as a very philosophical guy, in terms of how you go through life, how you observe, different challenges and navigate them. So let's maybe kind of start on that theme. You've built an extraordinary career across major tech organizations. You've driven strategic alliances that have delivered hundreds of millions in revenue. So, looking back through your career, Celia, what were the pivotal decisions or mindsets that most shaped your professional journey?
Uh, Aaron, first of all, thanks for the introduction. Really appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a journey, to say the least. Uh, when you are talking about pivotal moments, it's so tough to pinpoint just a few. It's been a long life, really. So, thinking back, I just gave it a thought as to what would be the single most pivotal moment that really shaped myself and my career and the rest of my life, really. So I was very happily ensconced in uh, Lucknow, which is in northern part of India, managing a business with a full team, enjoying my life, having a lot of comfort around me and challenges. And of course, I was staying with my parents. That was a bonus. And then I got an offer to go to Mumbai, the mega city of India, and I had never been there to work, means of course to visit, but I just took that offer up without asking or telling anyone and told my parents I'm moving. They just asked me, and I said, no, I'm leaving, despite all the comfort and everything going for me. That turned out to be the entry point for me to shape my rest of the life in the way that I had the opportunities, I had people, and I had the connections, which really took me to places. And I'm really fortunate I took that decision. And yeah, so that was the one point. Of course, there are many others, but I probably will just steer away from that until we have a bit more time.
We'll cross
Important
that bridge when
question
we
in
come to it.
sorry, yeah.
Essentially, we'll come to that bridge a bit later, but I think you're making an interesting point in the sense that you look back and consider those pivotal moments. You're deciding to move out, take the opportunity to go to the big city, and it's. I had the sense that everything is connected in some shape or form. You're kind of realizing how you got from one place to another. What would you say?
Absolutely. And I think the overriding attribute to that decision is the mindset. You did allude to what sort of a mindset really makes me do things that I do. And my mindset, I have given it a thought, and I think I do have a mindset of accepting and actually looking for challenges for which I don't find myself really ready or prepared. That gets me that extra adventurous spirit. Let me go there and just see how can I perform. And being in the sales and marketing roles, I did develop some sort of a smart learning on the job mindset. And just to become productive, just to become a bit more contributing, and then you learn. I had combination like everybody, some smart and supportive bosses, some incompetent bosses, but you learn from both. And you just
Mm,
make yourself work in the best way possible going forward.
Mm,
Important thing for me, Aaron, has been why I feel so passionate about the things I do is it's a bit crazy thinking, but I've always believed that I was as good and as committed at my job as if I was the CEO of the company. So that mindset,
mm,
what it did, it led me to take responsibility and ownership to represent my company, be it IBM or
mm,
Equinix, believing that company depended on me to represent it in the best way possible. So not only in my professional life, I do
mm.
try and carry the same mindset in my personal and social life, meaning taking responsibility and ownership to give my best every time while observing and learning from everyone around.
Mm. It's a really interesting mindset to almost view yourself as the CEO, the master of your own destiny. In other words, I am Salil Saurabh, PLC. Yeah, I'm representing the company in the best possible light, and you're taking full responsibility in a sense, for what you can control within that role.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think one of the things that often fascinated me from your kind of career narrative, if you like, is your leadership philosophy. Now you've worked across culturally diverse regions. You've worked in across EMEA, across Africa. I remember some kind of war stories there. So over the years, how did your leadership style evolve, and what of these cross-border experiences taught you about human motivation and connection?
This is something really important. And you are right. Leadership does not really come when you are born. You acquire, you develop, but there has to be mindset. And we did talk about the mindset already. And I've been very fortunate that I was born to one of the most open minded and progressive parents. So within India itself, where I was born and educated and started my professional career, I got to travel thousands of miles from cities to the hinterland in India, interacting with most gifted, talented, and culturally diverse set of professionals. And of course, making friends and acquaintances with fellow travelers. Because those days, remember, Aaron, India was not flying, it was railing, training around. So it was most
Mm,
of train journeys, which were long, and you made connections with the people there. And so
yeah.
it all helped me imbibe the cultures, the behaviors, the backgrounds, and also the way people accept you or don't accept you. So
Mm,
that really set me up for more international exposure once I moved to Dubai, leaving India. And so in Dubai, I had to travel all across Middle East, from Yemen to Egypt to uh, Lebanon to Bahrain. I mean, you name the place. So I had to go there, setting up relationships and this stuff. So it helped me understand how each country or each background of people has to be respected, has to be appreciated, and most important, understood. And that's where
yes.
I started becoming more receptive and easier on myself as to this is the best way for me to be effective. Then
Mm,
moving to South Africa was another crazy experience because I had to go to the places where people have not heard of what the relationships are, what the distribution networks are called, what are the ways you can do business. So I had to start from the scratch, making people understand how to do business with the likes
mm,
of IBM. And so that
mm.
was another learning. And you won't believe how intelligent and perceptive people you can find in those places. All they need is exposure. And that's
Yes.
really helped me get educated on the, again, backgrounds and the way they do business, and also help them get their business to the next level where they can become more internationally exposed and more internationally acceptable. So includes uh, how you can just embrace diverse cultures, work ethics, behaviors, customs, backgrounds, and it helped me become a better leader, really. Because if you can't really lead a team of different backgrounds and motivations, you can be really restricted in the way you can manage a team. So if you can
Yeah.
understand and relate, you can become so much more effective and, of course, make your team go an extra step. And so
Absolutely.
these are really important pieces of being outside of India. Then I lived in Paris for a while, about 3 years, and that really helped me know how the EMEA level business is run with French people, talking to Germans, talking to British, and talking to Nordics. So that also gave me a so much of learning as to how
Yes.
other people they transact their businesses, what are their motivating intuitions, how you can really be more effective and actually have a happy relationship even inside the organization and of course outside with the partners. So all in all, I've been very privileged in terms of exposure that I got through my jobs, through the living, and of course, you had to observe and learn, and then of course interact.
Yeah, no, excellent. And it's such a fascinating uh, grounding experience, if you like, traveling around India by train because that was the necessity. As you say, there wasn't really so many flights. It wasn't such a common mode of transport, and that kind of put you in contact with everyday people on the ground. Learning how to communicate with them, what was important to them, and all of those lessons then propelled you into being this global citizen, if that's the right phrase. Multiple business cultures, multiple geographies. Really learning how to kind of communicate, motivate in different settings. So it's been almost a fascinating school of learning for you. Taking that particular journey. And one thing that always strikes me about you is you have this philosophy about trying to kind of remain relevant and up to date, and that involves having a close relationship with youth, youthful generation. So speaking to young people, understanding what's important to them, what's the current kind of vibe, what's the topical piece. Could you speak a little bit more to that?
Absolutely. Means that has been my passion because, as I said, I use the word observing and learning all the time, and that's what when I travel from Maidenhead to London and back or anywhere else, I do carry my earphones and phone, but most of the time I prefer to watch and observe people around me. And this is such a fascinating sight and learning, Aaron. 80% people are busy on the phones, flipping through
Yeah,
or music or whatever.
so much.
For me,
Mm.
I'm watching them, how they're dressed, how they are rushing, how they are talking to each other. It gives me a
Yeah.
feeling I'm part of a society that's vibrant, that's happening around me. And I'm so happy to be part of that. Makes me feel more alive. So,
Well,
next
what an
generation, the
enlightening
young,
view. So enlightening. So many people, as you say, are just literally glued to the phones, myself included, unfortunately. I think they're very, very addictive things, aren't they? But as you say, if you can just step back, out of that kind of magnetic field and observe, you're kind of conducting this social experiment in a sense, seeing what's really going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things which, again, when you're talking about connecting with the young generation, I just feel that this is so important to stay relevant today. So, the one thing which I've been touting to anyone who's willing to listen to me is gain knowledge and skills which are relevant for today. What we had done yesterday may not have any bearing on you being relevant today. So, stay relevant by learning the skills that are important for the generation and the businesses today. Have the knowledge. Without knowledge, you can't gain confidence. If you feel confident without knowledge, that's a fake confidence. It doesn't take you anywhere. So knowledge leads you to confidence. Confidence leads you to the leadership. Any leader who doesn't have confidence doesn't survive. And confidence, of course, as I just mentioned, comes from knowledge and skills upgrade and being relevant. And one important thing,
Mhm.
the new generation, as I just connect with them, it's really important for you to really have a look at what is their mindset. So, so-called millennials and Gen Z community, I admire their creative analytical minds, their environmental awareness, the social fairness, their definition of quality of life in general. I sincerely believe that our world and society is in much better hands with the younger generation actively challenging the status quo and questioning outdated concepts and creating and innovating all those new solutions which are fantastic for me to observe and see every day when I wake up and for a more exciting tomorrow. When we try to trash or bracket young generation as being snowflakes or lazy, I think we are
Yeah.
doing a disservice to ourselves. We have lived our life in the times which were different. Today's life is driven by technology and social media. Important thing for young people today is to, again, as I said, build confidence through knowledge and skills. And most important, as we just mentioned, with the rapid technology and social media advances, we are losing a sense of time and space across all walks of life. We can easily blame the big tech giants that, okay, fine, that's a good public service call. However, each of us must own our own relationship with the technology and social media and handle it as responsibly and as smartly as possible to be productive, happier, and have a fair and balanced life. I think
Mm,
I'm very convinced it's the best time to be living at it, despite all the challenges, despite
mhm.
all the negativities and adversities we see. But we have to look for good in everything we are living today. We are better connected. We are more secure with all sort of technology available for us. We have more knowledge. Everything is going on. We just have to take that time in our hand to use it as effectively as we can.
Absolutely. You know, I always think of this Chinese proverb, the very ancient proverb, may you live in interesting times. Now, note they don't say may you live in fascinating or really, um, wealthy times or may you live in a disaster zone. You know, it's very much about whichever bed you're born in, wherever you're growing up, you make the best of your surroundings and your opportunities, right? In effect, what you've done. And I think it's genuinely refreshing to hear someone talk about millennials or the younger generation in the way you do, not to dismiss them or discredit them, but let's listen to them and let's tune into their frequency and what they have to say. I think it's quite clear that there are challenges out there for this generation in terms of how things that used to work very well are now under threat, or the structures that have been familiar for a long time. um, Kind of leads me on to my next point in a sense. You've talked obviously about the power of partnership, and quite a few of your corporate roles were focused around building those alliances, bringing companies and people together essentially. So at IBM, at Equinix, there was the Power of Three initiative. I would ask you probably, what do you believe is the secret ingredient that makes partnerships truly thrive, beyond just commercial alignment?
Gosh, what a brilliant topic to talk about. And it happens in every part of our life, every aspect. We live by creating partnership, Aaron. You and I, we have become partners through the interactions we started. I have partnership with the grocery store I go and buy something. We have indirect partnership with the Apples and Samsungs and Googles every day. We don't realize
Yes,
it, but we are
it's all
living in a
connected.
connected world. It's
Mm,
all partnership. How you monetize, how do you make it work in a overt manner? That has
mm,
been the way life has really taken me from my early career, that was direct selling PCs, servers, and solutions to the businesses. That was another type of adrenaline rush, winning deals against all odds. But slowly you find that even IBM, they couldn't really service a customer in completeness without working with other partners, being such a big behemoth. So that really came into being. How can we expand? How we can explore? How we can establish something that can really give us a sustainable growth, sustainable expansion of our operations and opportunities? So I was so privileged again and lucky that I had a visionary leader in IBM. He and I, we were having a discussion. He said, Salil, I have an idea how we can just create a partner sponsored alliance within IBM, because IBM is a very bureaucratic company for good reasons.
yes.
It was such a lovely idea that we had the partners paying for somebody in IBM to carry their flag and help them navigate across 300,000 IBM employees, for them to find good opportunities, good narratives as messages, for them to really become a true partner of IBM. And I worked on that concept right from the scratch in terms of identifying the suitable candidates, working with them, developing a business plan, developing a roadmap, and of course, making an execution plan by countries. It became such a fantastic model for almost 10 years. So I became a coach, I became a leader, I also did my own bit in managing relationships. It was an innovative way for me to feel how you can really challenge the status quo in a big company like IBM, still monetize a business and influence over $1 billion revenue for both companies. it was a major uh, achievement in a way, and the pivot for a company like IBM. So that model still is ongoing in its own shape and form after I've left IBM. But I thought creating a separate model and innovation is the key for us to really exploit all the potential that we have in creating new partnerships. Underlying feature,
Mm,
Aaron, if I may, why the partnership flourish or fail? Not because of products, not because of services, not because of technology. We already know what fits where. It fails because people don't understand people. So when I'm talking to somebody, if I don't speak that person's language, when I'm pitching myself, I have already failed. So I need to do
yeah.
research. I need to know what motivates the partnership, what motivates the growth, what motivates the success. I need to be prepared to speak the language, to give them the confidence that this is the right partnership platform for them to really step on. These
Mm,
are the things I have learned over the years. The people buy from people, people sell to people. Technology, products, services, everything is an accessory. If I don't believe you, why should I believe the products you're selling? If I don't believe you, why should I
absolutely.
believe the services you're selling? So that has
Yeah.
been a standout uh, influence for me throughout building the partnership. My first job was to create the credibility that people that I'm talking to, they should trust me, they should believe in me, they should listen to me, and for which I had to prepare a lot. And the secondly, I had to be able to coach other people to be on the same page. So this is a lovely bit of roadmap that I had to create, and each roadmap was unique because working with
Mm,
Accenture is different than working with HPE. Working with you is different than working with another executive in a team. So you have to be very smart. You have to know the other person's your motivation before you can have the connection. So, cutting the long story short, I really did all these things myself and also try and coach whoever was willing to listen to me to help them become better partner managers and become better
yes.
partner, what I call evangelist. So yeah, it's been a lovely thing, and I think partnership is the way of life these days. Without partnership,
Yes.
is not going to move forward.
Absolutely right. Really great way to put it. And it leads very neatly on to the next topic. If we talk about integrating the inner and the outer game, if I can put it like that. So the very first time I reached out to you, we connected. It must be a couple of years back, perhaps. I memory doesn't serve so well, but you had a wonderful symbol on the wall, which you again have today, which I understand is the own. Now we'll get to that shortly, but many people know you as a strategic and analytical business leader, right? So that's the professional side. But I know you also have quite a strong spiritual side. So I guess my question is, how do you personally reconcile or blend the material intensity of the corporate world with your more reflective inner practices?
Oh, you're so kind to label me as somewhat of a spiritual person. That's a real
That's my
honor.
conviction. Yeah. And very wise.
But I do consider myself as a common sense and empathetic person. I think that's good enough for me. Where I believe being a avid observer and a learner helps you move ahead. And that's what I really follow and practice. The rest comes along as part of what people feel about you. And of course, I had a long life experiences, and I have learned to be more accepting and appreciative of differences among people. I believe a lot of people are stressing themselves to be perfect or looking for perfection. I just have one claim to make. Nature is not perfect. Weather is not perfect. None of things nature offers us is perfect. So why should we look for perfection? All we have to do is to give our best that we can be as good as we can. There's nothing
Mm,
else for us to really worry about or stress about. Just
yeah,
be your best and give your best. So I,
absolutely.
I I have had, again, honor and privilege and fortune of living with some very smart people, including within my family, in the business network, such as your. I learned from everyone. And then some of those messages or behaviors stick on me. And probably, if you don't mind, if I could just talk about some of them.
Yeah, I'd
And
love to.
we did talk about it in our various conversations we have had. So I believe in order for us to be stress free or minimize our adversities and the challenges, you better strive to be content than be happy. Now, happiness is momentary, it's transactional. Being content is more strategic and it sustains. So, content to me is if you have accepted something as being good, that feels good. Happiness can come and go, but that feeling stays. So, that's something you can keep in mind and just look to be more content with what you are getting, what you are doing. I think that helps. One more thing I talk to people, and especially
Mm,
people again who are willing to listen to me, is you need to know the difference when you are negotiating or you are just interacting with people. There is always a power game going on between people. I believe power resides with the givers. It doesn't reside with the people in need. So how do we become giver? Upskilling, gaining knowledge. Once you become stronger and confident, you become a giver and you become more powerful. When you are needy, you are only asking, you are not giving. So that's something you should just try and move from being needy to be a giver. That really helps
mm,
in your professional career.
yeah.
One very important thing personally, Aaron, this I have learned very early in my life is celebrate anything good you do every day. Even a small
Yeah.
little thing, you make a good cup of tea, enjoy it. Don't
Well,
undermine
that would be
the
good for
value
me.
of
That'd be a win.
uh, you close a deal of $100 million, celebrate it yourself. You don't need
Absolutely.
your manager or somebody else. You pat yourself on the back if you have done it. So celebrate as soon as you know you have done something good, however small of it, in
Mm,
person, in your space. Don't wait for a big platform to shine the light in you. Same way,
absolutely.
if you have made a mistake, critique and criticize anything you did wrong in the same way, in person, in your space. Don't let yourself out. If you have made a
Mm,
mistake, unless you tell yourself you made a mistake, how will you learn? So, both ways, you got to take control of your emotions and, of course, your behavior. Uh, in the business, Aaron, you do it very well. I know that
yeah.
if somebody's done a job well, I always try and credit those people in public because crediting people and appreciating them in private is something is not really as effective. So
Yes.
let people know that somebody has done a good job so they get a good feel about themselves. At the same time, anybody who's made a mistake, I prefer not to do it in public, do it in private, and don't do it
Absolutely.
in writing. Do it in because in writing you never know what you write when you were saying that. It's
How it's
better to do it
perceived, how it
verbally.
lands. Mm,
Exactly.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is a way you can very subtly navigate through the human emotions and connections. And then
Mm,
my brother, eldest brother, uh, God bless him, he taught me never to be late for a meeting or an appointment that you have agreed to. And I'm such a shameful uh, example that I still struggle. But I think
yes.
that is something very that is something very important for us to respect other people, their time. And I try means it's not that I'm always late, but whenever I feel miserable, and I actually have improved dramatically. But earlier, I remember it was not such a great feel, and it undermines the respect for the people. Yeah,
It goes in, yeah, it's about respect, and it goes into all of those machinations of, is this person kind of sending me a signal? Again, is there a power game in there? Is it just bad manners to not be on time? I think there was a quote from a famous American sports coach. I forget which sport particularly, but it was something like late is late, and early is just about on time, something along those lines. So, in other words, the implication was you should always be early as a default. Anything less than that, anything later is really kind of not good. In in
absolutely.
in your own career, was there any kind of defining experience for you? I'm thinking maybe a setback or a transition or a moment of insight that then deepened your spiritual perspective, or maybe shifted how you define success today. I think we're kind of getting to that sort of sense. Are there any examples that you could share there?
Again, so many to count, Aaron, and I
Yeah.
haven't told it to many people, even my near and dear ones. I nearly drowned on a deserted beach in Goa in my 20s. I didn't
My
know
goodness.
swimming. I just went further deep in the water where I couldn't really control myself. It just so
Uh,
happened there was a one lone man swimming close by. He pulled me out. Not sure if I still feel the significance and weight of the moment, as there would be no Salil talking to Aaron today. These
no,
are,
no, gee whiz. Thank God for that
and
that angel that pulled you out of the sea.
I, and you know these things pass you by. But since you asked me a question, I just remembered. It just
Yeah.
literally flashed in my mind.
Came
Hey,
came back.
what happened? Yeah.
Mm.
And second part, you need to look for uh, some transitional points in your life, some epiphanies that you just look for. And one of the things, going back to that point that you made right in the beginning about this sign called Om. Om is something I got fascinated by when I went to down south in India, and it was called a rock. Uh, a major philosopher of India called Vivekanand. So he had set up a meditation center right on the deep end of South, where you had the sea on the other side. And it was just simply an open area, not open area, it's a pass through area where you have a large Om sign with a green light coming from behind. And you could just sit around there. I would walk through or sit. I sat there for 10 minutes. It literally let me be so clean in my thinking, in my thoughts. I was young. I didn't
Wow.
remember why it happened and what, but it made me feel so good. It made me feel
Mm.
so
So it
empowered for
cleansed
some
you
reason.
in a sense. Oh.
Absolute. So it made me feel pure. And nobody said
Mm.
anything. It was simply sitting there for 10 minutes made the difference. So I got fascinated. I said, I'll just keep it there. Maybe it will keep giving me positive vibes and positive energy for me to really not look at dark side of the life, always look at the
Mm.
cleaner and good side of life. So it's very personal. You could have your
Mm.
own science or thinking in your head to do the same. But for me, that was something very
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
You did ask me about any setback or transition or moment of insight. I just probably will take a minute of your time
Mm.
just to let you know. Just about 10 years ago, we were having a good life, I with my family, and my youngest family member had to go through a challenging phase in the life, requiring the whole family to come together and find a way to help. And of course, in the process, helping the family to overcome the challenge because it
Yeah.
affected each of us very personally and deeply. It was such a tough ride. I'm so fortunate that my wife, never flinching, determined, focused, and absolutely passionate about getting the job done. And my other uh, 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 who was right there to support. And so we all got together, and of course, the family member that was affected by it was itself totally played the ball, and just we worked together for over a couple of years in order for us to get the best support possible, best therapies, best uh, infrastructure that would get within the time that we had without letting our life be disrupted beyond a certain level. So that really what it did to me. And now, fortunately, and thanks to the effort of my each of my family member, that the family member is doing very well,
Good.
having an independent, proud life. And so it just makes you feel so humble and
Yes.
grateful that if you can stick together as a family and look after each other, that is the best feeling, far bigger than you being a professionally successful or known or famous. I think at the end of the day, Aaron, you are a family person, I'm a family person. When we do everything, we do it to have a better life for ourselves, our near and dear ones, and who's the nearest and dearest ones than your family. So for me, That has been the greatest learning of the phase, that you need to value the time you spend with your family. We often underplay and ignore
Mm.
the time. There's no other pillar of strength than a well knit family who cares for each other.
Yeah.
We are now,
Absolutely.
uh,
Yeah, they
so,
do say that
yeah.
there are challenging times, in the jobs market right now, and there's lots of financial stress. And I think the message is money always comes back, but time never comes back. And that really ties into what you're saying there. You utilize the time; it's precious. It's finite. It's like the sands running through the egg timer, I think.
Another thing which we, as we get older in our life, and of course when we become parents, we also, not all of us, we remember or realize that we are fortunate to be born to our parents who had given us values for us to be where we are. We have the same responsibility towards our children, however difficult they are or challenging they are. It is simply
Yeah,
our duty to give them the best uh, uh, playing ground, and also be with them, because they don't, even with their friends, the first call, unconditional love and the support, it has to be the parents. So
yeah,
I just keep that in mind, that I should be there when my children need me, and it's my duty. It's not my privilege, but it's my duty to do it for them what I can do to anyone else. So I think this is something which I have realized through the experience, as I just mentioned, and I'm getting it more reinforced and strengthening my belief that this is something all of us we need to look at for us to feel better, and that really takes away a lot of stress of rat race that we have out in the market. Hey, we are competing with this person and we are not winning or we are losing. I think what really matters at the end of the day, when you get back home, you have a good time, good atmosphere, and then you have a feeling of again doing something better every day. So, to sum up the impact, any professional success is meaningless without a supporting family who are as much part
mhm,
of a success and celebration. So,
yeah,
these are
yeah,
my two little
100%.
pennies to anybody who is just willing to listen to this old man.
Excellent, excellent advice. Really, really does make perfect sense. And the way I usually like to finish these episodes and these conversations is talking about wisdom for the next generation, passing it on, paying it forward, all those good things. And for anyone who's listening, who is in the process of navigating, a fast-paced tech career today, it doesn't have to be tech, it could be any kind of industry. But essentially, what advice would you give about maintaining balance here between ambition and presence, achievement and meaning? I think there may be some wise words there that you could maybe pass on to any listeners.
I think you did preempt some of it in the earlier discussion we had, Aaron, where we talked about how do I relate to the next generation and the new generation per se. Today, we are talking about everybody. You and I know the kind of evolution we see, the rapid changes we see. We are all in together. We are trying to make our lives on this planet better, be it younger Gen Zs or millennials or boomers like me and the even older generation. None of us is unaffected by the changes which are happening. All sort of social, economic, technology, behavioral, mental health, all sort of environmental challenges, everything. It is such a fascinating time to be alive where you can contribute to any part. I think my advice to the younger generation would be, again, be very smart with the time you have with the technology, own your own time and space. Don't get peer pressured into becoming always connected for unproductive things. Just chart your own course. What makes you happy? What makes you tick? Look at that part and try and develop your own skills and knowledge around that. And that really gives them not only a career choice, it also gives them a feeling of being rewarded. And I don't really believe in that follow your passion. Passions are manufactured. So if I get an opportunity, I can make it my passion if it really helps me go forward in both ways, personally and professionally. So, younger generation, they are the smartest. Absolutely, they are thinkers. They have all the tools and technology available at their hands. What they should be looking at right now is to what is making them tick, where they feel, hey, this is where I want to be. And just go and develop a network, develop knowledge, and develop some skills, and just go and be relevant. Being relevant is the key in every aspect of life, Aaron. If I'm
Yeah,
not
adding
relevant in my
value.
family, nobody will
Well,
talk
yeah,
to me.
no
If
one
I'm
would
not
talk.
relevant, absolutely.
Just get
So
ignored.
I think younger generation knows how to be successful. It's just only the confusion that we have got because so much information is being bombarded on us on a daily basis. Much of it is repetitive, much of it is useful, much of it is misleading. I think the art of living in today's world is to separate the trash from what's productive and relevant. And if we are able to find that division or difference, I think we can really chart our own course for a successful and happy life, both professionally and personally.
Yeah, excellent. That really, really is, a very resonant message, packed with wisdom. So thank you very much. It has been an absolute privilege to speak to you and to explore both the professional and personal dimensions of your own journey. For any listeners who'd like to perhaps connect with Salil or learn more about his work, we'll include, with your permission, Salil, your LinkedIn link in the episode description so people
Yeah,
can get in touch with you. Thank you so much. A real pleasure. Thank you for everyone who's been watching or listening. We look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, all the very best of luck.
thank you, Aaron, and stay well.
Thank you. You too. Thanks, Salil.
Thanks. Bye bye.